So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about Schoolcraft student body, and for winter semester it's almost exactly the same as our fall semester, so it's pretty consistent. Um, Obviously, a lot of students are 95% are from Wayne County because we are a commuter school, so you're going to see our students, the top cities, Livonia is number one at 18%, Canton, Westland, and then Northville, Garden City, Plymouth, Detroit, Redford, Novi, and Dearborn are number 10 cities. And then the high schools we had 10, so those kind of get a smaller piece of the pie just because a lot of the first couple are from Livonia, so the percents are a little bit smaller. So you'll notice Franklin is up there at 8%. We get students from Stevenson, Plymouth, Canton, Salem, all in Canton, and then Churchill, another Livonia, Garden City, Northville, John Glenn, and Wayne are also. And then our graduates, so we do a graduate follow-up survey in our office every year, and that's on an annual basis. And like you can see consistently from 2014, 15, and 16, these do remain the top cities that our students come from. So they are close to campus. There are some that come a little bit further, like you'll see Dearborn's a little bit further, and Detroit. So I don't know if anyone ever notices, do students come in your classrooms and do they have any transportation issues, or does that ever come up? Yeah, okay. Has there been any resources that have been able to help them with that, or?
None that we provide.
Okay. Okay.
None that we provide.
Yeah, so that's good to know. And later on, I'm going to actually hand out a resource page for students. It's a student resource, kind of infographic type style that kind of lists all the offices available at Schoolcraft and the phone numbers and locations. And sometimes, when those questions come up in class, if you want to kind of have this handy, and they can go to, like the Hinkle Center has a lot of resources and even counseling, to kind of provide them with whatever they can help with at that time. So we'll get into that too. And then also, you guys might be familiar with our, we send out a Data Bites newsletter every so often. And our most recent one was the fall enrollment facts. So this is going to give you another picture of the demographics of Schoolcraft. Female is 53%, male 47%. So we're kind of evening out a little bit. And then full-time students about 28% and part-time 72%. So we do have a big population of part-time students who are balancing a lot of different things. And then you'll notice we have ethnicity, and I'm going to pass this out too, just in case you guys haven't seen it, and we can also get this posted. But it's just a 2-page infographic, and it has a lot of different facts on it. And then some of our top transfer programs are on there: liberal arts, 30%, business administration is very popular, nursing, registered ADN, and then criminal justice and culinary arts are going to be the top percentages there. So you'll see they drop quite a bit with, but 30% was a arts transfer, so that is a good amount. As far as financial aid, so there are 74% of the first-time full-time students do receive financial aid. If you look at all undergraduates, and this is, so it's kind of backdated because the data is, when you turn the report for the federal, they go a little bit back in time. And so 49% were awarded aid, and that's not including student loans, that's just including grants that they get. 30% were awarded Pell, and 13 were the federal loans. So you can kind of get a picture of what our students are receiving in financial terms here at Schoolcraft. Their top goals, so some of their behaviors, why are they coming to Schoolcraft? They want to transfer, that's their top goal. We noticed that, so students, we do a student survey on a 3-year cycle. We do 2 different benchmark ones, and we just administered the Noel Levitt survey. Does anyone remember us coming into your classroom? Okay. Yeah, so we'll bug you sometimes with an email to get us in there so that we can get some data back, and our graduate survey, like I mentioned, and then we also do a non-returning student survey. So if we see that people are leaving the college, we want to find out, why they're leaving and what are their goals and different aspects of that. So we noticed, and you can see with the bars here, so 36% of current students, they want to transfer, and then also the 46% associate degree. So sometimes I think they kind of, both go hand in hand really, so we don't have as much of a big picture with that. But you'll notice it drops with the leavers. They're more, they want the 37% of the transfer. Employment, students are working. So as you can see, the current students are going to work more part-time than full-time. And I think we can assume that, you know, they're trying to balance all these things, and you can only sometimes take on a part-time job with school. And you'll notice more of the graduates, they are working full-time, you know, they're getting out into the workforce more. And our leavers are working a lot full-time too, so that could be one clue as to why they're leaving. Maybe they can't handle the work and school balance as much, and they need a little more resources to help them. So some more student behavior. These are some obstacles that we get from the non-returning student survey. And we do a data bites on this as well that we'll send out actually pretty soon. And there should be one from last year out there. Has anyone seen that one? So the obstacles, you know, money, finances are always a huge obstacle for students. Working, just their lack of motivation, time management. So those all come up as they're in an open end, so they're coded to get those just kind of general responses there. And you'll notice too that over time, the reasons they're leaving is they're transferring. So they're going, you know, to another location, or they're going to straight to university versus a community college, those type of things. So I wanted to just share with you real quick just some resources if you ever want to look at more data and you're interested. We do have all our projects out on the U Drive, so there's going to be a lot of survey data out there. And if you're ever having trouble trying to get to that, if you're not on campus, you can always email the Research and Analytics Department, and we can definitely answer your questions for you. There's also College Navigator out there, Michigan Community College Network, and the MI School data. And I did have, show you that really quick, what it looks like. So if you've ever been on the College Navigator, this is kind of our reporting, and it'll show you, it has general information, tuition fees, financial aid, enrollment, admissions. So there's a lot of information and data out there that is public for you to access on your own too. And Michigan Community College Network, if you've seen this before, and then also the MI School data too. So I'm going to pass out the handout so you have some resources too. And is there any questions?
One thing I wanted to, comment on was those websites you saw. If you go to Schoolcraft's homepage, you know, our homepage, and scroll all the way to the bottom, there are direct links to those sources, along with budget and financial transparency. But like I said, because I never remember what those websites are, but I know if I go to the homepage and scroll all the way to the bottom, I can find them. Do we have any questions for Crystal?
So this handout is really great. How are students getting it?
Yes, so all the information that's on this handout is actually on the website. And so they can access all this, and there's actually a link at the very top that it's at schoolcraft.edu. Can't find it. So when you go to current students, you'll see a bunch of resources on there. There's also on the back, there's some Lake Student Handbook. There's resources in there as well. And so we kind of created this from the website, and so we can definitely get you copies of it. And if you want to pass it out with your syllabus, or if you think it's just good to have handy if, you know, students come to you and have questions, we can definitely, you know, get some extra copies to you guys if you want it.
What I like is just post it.
Yeah, you know, posting it, yeah, like you said, in the classrooms, that would be great too, and students can kind of just see it on their own. It's really good. We did a survey on figuring out the hours of operation, and students kind of got to see a picture of, you know, what the current hours were, and they said, oh, can we keep this? Because I didn't know there was a bookstore over at the other campus, you know. So it kind of lets them know, like, oh, wow, there's these different options I have when, say, they're only at Radcliffe, they don't get over to me in campus as much, and so they just don't know what's available to them all the time. And so this kind of helps give them a better picture. Oh, here's everything right here. I can just call them, you know, right away. Yeah, definitely. So we can.
What we can do is, Crystal, if you want to send me your
Yeah.
presentation
Yeah.
and those two handouts we had. I will send an email out to all the participants today that has all three of those documents.
Yeah, that would be great. Alright. Does anyone have anything else or any questions on the data?
Just one, I didn't see a sample size on that, why reason people left, you know?
Yeah, so we send it out to like a couple thousand people, and so our response rate is a little bit lower on this survey because, you know, people have already left and, you know, they see an email from school, probably not as interested to open that. So the sample size is lower. I want to say it's a, I don't have it with me right now, but. And are you talking about for just the obstacles and that type of thing?
Yes.
Because that's another thing, so the open ends are, it's not required of them to write something in there too, so that's gonna be a little less too. But our responses, I wanna say it's around 200 or so. I can get back to you on that though.
That's okay.
Yeah. Anything else?
All right, great, thank you, Crystal, thank you very much.